Good evening, everyone. Mazes, okay, speaking to us. How are we all doing today? This is Mazes, okay, broadcasting live. Today being the Tuesday, 3rd of August, 2021. How are we doing, people? How are we doing? I'm here, so go and call your yard people. Go and invite everyone. Invite everyone. How are we doing? We're going to discuss something interesting today. So, but before we do that, go and invite everyone to come join me. So, welcome back. That was a short commercial break. Bear in mind, we've been saying if you want to advertise on Njenje Media, you can freely, you can do that. Feel free to contact us. We would, have discussions with you and how best you can do that on our platform. You can do that on Njenje Media TV. You can do that on Njenje Media, the news blog, where you get only authentic, no propaganda, no fake news. Yes, and the prices are very, very affordable. You know, many of you who've tried us can attest to that. Now, this evening, we want to talk about what is happening once more. We're back again talking about Nigeria. Oh, somebody's already angry. Please, Kayode Ali is angry. You just see my face and you're getting angry. Please don't bring bad energy here. If you want to get angry, you can just move away. We don't need you. Kayode Ali. I don't even know. Kayode Ali is already angry and is giving me a thumbs down. Okay, can we correct him with love? Let's not pay evil with evil. Let's show him some love by liking the video, give it a thumbs up, and let's roll. A thumbs up, everyone. Just click the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Both Facebook, YouTube, and many of us on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to this platform, returning. YouTube algorithm tells me that over close to 50% of us watch my content every time, but you never clicked to subscribe. Why? 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 What do we do now? So what have I done to deserve this? Okay, so we're going to look at Abba Kyari. And by the way, let's get the comment section busy. Let's see let you know where you're watching from. Obinna Ihanacho. Thank you very much, Obinna, for joining. Let's get the comment section busy. And bear in mind, many of you, actually, this is a new month. End of the month, everybody disappeared. Nobody paid tithe. See, that's the reason why I wouldn't open a church. Because if I open a church, hunger will kill me because none of you will pay tithe. And my tithe has been reduced from 10% to only 1%, and yet nobody wants to pay. Oh, I have Jude Michael Okafor watching from Sweden. Nama Kafu. Nana Kafu, that sounds Ghanaian, but if you're Ghanaian, that's Nana Kafu. Okay. Nana, it's good to know that I have other Africans watching, because at the end of the day, Africa is a continent and that's the motherland. That's the place to be. That's the place of our pride. Watching from Australia, watching from Mozambique. Growing up, we used to call Mozambique Mozambique. Maria Helpful says in Njenje Media, never knowing underrate any news without verification of its source. I like your unbiased presentation. Thank you very much. And you're sending your love from the United Kingdom. Right on, bros, from Germany. Oh, la, meine Leute. Aus Deutschland. Oh ja, doch, aus München. Österreich. Oh mein, das freut mich, Leute. Kommt doch rein. Wir sind wir alle. Wir sind hier fröhlich Es klappert die Mühle am rauschenden Bach. Clip, clap, clip, clap, clip, clap. Only the older Germans will understand the song I've just. Okay, so it's good because my broadcast here is normally like a family meeting where we greet one another, we shake hands in time of Corona, and I know some people when they shake hands, they do something like this. They take something like this, like a military distance, and and they put it back in their belts. Some of you can be so crazy. And okay, now, according to Kemi, she said that Abba Kyari has been jailed. And I'm like, hold on, how come? Why would Abba Kyari, and how come that Abba Kyari has been jailed? Kemi, like her or hate her, she has some funny ways of please, don't come here and be stressing me. Oh, someone is watching from France, but this is your name, please. Somebody will help me read it. I see your name. Agboyo Agbonyon Wow. That sounds like Abichidi. I will try as much as possible to learn this name because I think it's Ugbelemon, watching from France. If you can do me a voice note of how to pronounce your name, because I take, on a serious note, I take exception in mispronouncing your name. I took exception when Germans were pronouncing my name as Dutch Ku, Eze, okay, they will say, here, Etioke. Etioke, I say, waiting, Adama Kukwa Mado, Etikwene, okay. So I always want to get your name right. Mazi, good evening from here. That's Uche, my good friend, the only man from Akbo, from my in-laws place, my brother's in-laws place. And he is in Ireland. He said, Mazi, have you started collecting the Gucci? Oh, now today you know. Of course. Mazi is now collecting tithe. I'm a tithe collector. So I have my tax registration. So you think all this research I do, people who you're sleeping, I will go and do research, not to mislead you, because at the end of the day, what do I profit from? I mean, the same energy is going to take to tell you falsehood about news. It's the same energy is going to take to say the right thing. And towards the middle of this, I will tell us the reason why it is good to say the right thing, so that if tomorrow, if DSS or anyone accustoms me, you are able to defend yourself. At least your reputation will stay. It's not a question, oh, yeah, we know, when you do fact check, because I do a lot of fact checking. I do when people, sometimes people send videos or email, videos or photos. Oh, this thing happened here, this thing happened here. And you do fact check. You find out it's actually lie. The photo probably has been in existence for over 2, 3, 4 years. And I've told us here on so many occasions, there are applications, some of them free, if you're on Android, that you can use to actually do these fact checks yourself. So it reduces the chances of miscommunication, because the effect of fake news is what we don't actually haven't come to terms with. There is, if you want to criticize the government, if you want to criticize, even if it's the state, local government, anything, you do not need to, lie or produce any false material to do so, because there are millions of factual information to state and make your point. Many years ago, when I say many years ago, over 20 years ago, while one was in the School of Journalism, and many of you think, Mazi started today. If you don't know, I'd once worked with Anambra Broadcasting Service, maybe when many of you were still wearing Pampers. I had once worked with Minaj Television, so Bosi. I also worked with Nigerian Television Authority headquarters, Victoria Island, Lagos. I worked one of my bosses, may his soul rest in peace, a man of hard work, worked under productions. I worked under Abuzo was my producer, but my director, a man I learned so much from. May his soul rest in peace. I respect him so much. Sadiq Daba. At the same time, I worked with Adeolóyè Dibio, the man that transcribed Things Fall Apart, the man that produced Things Fall Apart, put it in motion picture. No be today, no be today, no be today. They say no be today, Nyashi day for back. Okay, people. Olatunji Awofeso says it is very hard to believe the Nigerian media and journalists. Not only that they lack information. Well, again, in life you can do you can do much as you can to provide the accurate information. And before I start, sorry again, I need to apologize for many people who thought that we are going to be having, and as I promised the other time, I don't know how to say this, but again, I apologize. I take all the, blame me, do whatever you do to me. It's, I take all the blames, but the Enugu International Airport conversation is moved to Friday. It was originally scheduled for Friday last week. Due to due to circumstances beyond the control of my guests, it was moved today. But again, sadly, it has to be moved again to Friday. That means we are now moving it 1 week ahead of time. Sorry, 1 week ahead of time. What am I? Have I drunk anything? We're moving it 1 week ahead. Sorry, 1 week further. Okay, so pardon me. And but again, on that Enugu International Airport, I am not going to make any public comment. I am not going to say anything until Friday. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say anything until Friday. The only thing I'll tell the government, we are going to make a trouser. That trouser would either fit us or we tear that trouser on Friday. I will leave it at that, everyone. So let's hope for the best. Friday, join me. What time again? I would share this on the, actually, I would ask the staff to share this on the Njenje Media community section so that many of you can, if you want to come into that Zoom to ask questions, you can actually. And if you pardon me, actually, now, let me see if I can quickly maybe share that for the benefit of those who do not know the Zoom link. You can, use that to come in afterwards if you can use that to come in if you so wish. But, Friday is the day. I tell you, Friday, it cannot. If, as the Christians will say, if the Lord tallies, Friday is going to be the day. It's not gonna, it's not gonna happen again. So now I am sharing this link with us on the chat section, please. These exclusive. I've just shared it on the chat section. So exclusive. Hold on. You can now save and use this link that is being shared now on the chat section to join this conversation regarding the airport next week, this week, Friday. Again, tomorrow, being Wednesday, 6 p.m. Nigerian time, 6 p.m. United Kingdom time, 7 p.m. German time. I don't know the Americans. I don't want to do, the calculation conversion. Some of you 1 o'clock your time in the United States, some of you other time. Join me tomorrow with a very fantastic gentleman, the Odudubariba of Africa, in the person of Charlie Boy. I'm going to have a one-on-one tomorrow with him. And I hope and I pray that he's going to answer all my questions. I have all the tough questions that can unzip his drawers. I have them all. I have them all waiting for him. Watching from Ogoni Kingdom, oh, I love it. I love Ogoni people. Ogoni people, make una remain akpatashi for me. Akpatashi they good, but make you they take them as the Bible tells Timothy a little. Let me say the one go kung fu cup. I saw something go come they push you, they push something. Somebody could they push you, they put something. I saw you go they go like this, my good friend. Look at this man here, the way they do. Hey, Alaji Kazaure, Zoanam. Alaji Kazaure, if he don't drink me for fermented burukutuni, what in will happening? Economy, I would.
Our economic is doing like this. It's doing like this. It's blinking, shaking, blinking, shaking. So even notice because of this strong man, General Buhari, is about to sink in at all. Now he's trying to save it. It's on top of the water, never sink now. But
So you can see it. We are on top of. Oh yeah, what's happening, people? I'm here. Oh, so people, we are on top of the water. We are blinking, going like this, going like this. So on top of the water. So let's get crack on, people, on the topic of today. Enough advert for my good friend Ugbene Lomon. Ugbene Lomon. Thank you. You're watching from France. Sing. If we come back to speak about Abba Kyari, according to Kemi has the following to say. Pay attention to what she has to say.
Kemi Omalolu Olunloyo in Lagos, Nigeria. It's the 2nd of August, 2021. We have breaking news coming out of Abuja where we're now learning that the Inspector General of Police has fired Abba Kyari. Now, in the last 48 hours, most of you heard that Kyari has been suspended from the Nigerian police pending an investigation by the PSC. That's the Police Service Commission, who will determine if he's prosecuted here or is extradited to the US. At this time, we're learning that he has been fired by the IGP and has been replaced by Tunji Disu. Tunji Disu is going to head the Intelligence Response Unit now. Now, a lot of you know Tunji Disu. He's the Deputy Commissioner of Police, and he's going to be the head of the Police Intelligence Response Team, the IRT. Now, you guys remember I was talking about the IRT on my interview with Galaxy TV yesterday because I said they should shut down the IRT and the STS, the Special Tactical Squad. Now, when I said they should shut it down, basically, you can't just shut it down and have nothing. They should reconstitute it with good hands, the right people. So the appointment of Tunji Disu is just a sequel to the police management's decision to fill the leadership there at the IRT. You know, I had a problem with Hush Puppy, running that area. If Hush Puppy has influence with the DCP of the fraud unit, then our integrity is gone. I said all that on Galaxy TV. His relationship with Hush Puppy, I told you that the Americans have classified files, and once they declassify it, we're going to see more. He said he only spent $300,000, took it from him and made some clothes. But now the Americans have seen, they have since, opened these files, and what I saw was WhatsApp chats between Kyari and Hush Puppy. The WhatsApp chats. Hush Puppy has opened his WhatsApp for them. He did a plea deal. He doesn't want to go to prison for 20 years. So with the plea deal now, they have his WhatsApp, his phone, everything. In those chats, he tried.
Many of you know Kemi to be very controversial. And in some instances, she personalizes a lot of her narrative. Everybody has their own, everybody do have their own method of approaching issues, But one thing you cannot take away from her is that her leads and her sources of information, sometimes you might question the deliverer of that information. But, if you pay attention and stay and ignore the, the bearer of the information and stay on course and look at the content of that information without wiggling so much, both ways, you might begin to appreciate some of the things she does. Methodology wise, and other things could be neither here nor there, obviously, but controversial, yes, is she? But again, if she was not and if she's not being controversial, probably many of us wouldn't know her. Many people, they said the easiest way to blow in this business is for you to be controversial. But again, maybe that's why many of us who are not controversial, who don't want to really get involved in some sketchy stuff, maybe that's why we haven't blown. And maybe also that's why nobody is paying tight. I said it's tight. I feel like a pastor. Hallelujah, somebody in the house. Is it time to offering? Bless me. So when you understand that, you begin to appreciate maybe sometimes what she's saying. But no, in all she just said, I picked out one thing. She said that Abba Kyari has been fired and been replaced. But if you read the report of Frank Mba, the spokesperson of the federal police, you read where Mba says that he's been replaced, and because he's been suspended, and obviously while you're suspended, you vacate the office for investigations to happen. Now, but if I understand what Kemi is saying, it appears that the same pot with which the soup for Magu was cooked might be the same pot that is being used to cook this Kyari soup. Let's watch.
Okay, the IRT tracked that phone to that student. They brought him to Port Harcourt prison. That's where I met him. You see, and because he goes to the University of Port Harcourt, they linked him immediately to the murder of the professor. But it was not him. It was the staff in the house, 2 Togolese, and they fled, and they caught one. So the IRT has a very good record of doing it. There's always a good cop where the bad ones are. So at the end of the day, Tunji Tisu is the new head of the IRT. And that's what I said. Let them shut it down and put good people there who.
You see, Tunji Tusi is the new head of the unit that Abba Kyari was heading.
And he was also the DCP of operations at the force headquarters in Abuja. So we have good news there. Abba Kyari removed. He's now facing all kinds of things. And we have Mr. Disu at IRS. So that's the latest for now.
Well, I see someone, Emmanuel Bejide says that the freeze said make we know they pay tight and lie. That the freeze na him. But here, we know they pay church tithe, not to, with a paper and wine drinking tight. So, but let's look at Arise TV. Now, this is, the angle, because why I'm doing this is that we understand various perspectives. Then you can draw the line. That's obviously the content analysis here. You can now draw the line. You've looked at this. You've looked at this.
Meanwhile, Ramon Abbas, the self-confessed international fraudster, better known as Hush Puppy, will be sentenced in October. That's according to U.S. Attorney's Office at the Central District of California. A U.S. court has also confirmed that a directive was issued to the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation for the arrest of Nigerian top detective.
Sorry, let me answer this question. Olatunji Awofeso says, Sir, did Kemi carry out her research and due diligence? In sometimes, I cannot say if she did or if she did not, but at certain level, we do get intel from people. People who know what's happening sometimes do send information to you. So the question, it's at your own discretion. Many of you that might be watching now, many times you've sent me something and I've come back to you and said, no, this is fake, or this is this, or this is this. I'm not saying it to discredit you, but the moment is fake. And I have never replied to you and saying this is fake and it turned out to be true. Because why? Due diligence. So it's not because you're fighting with someone and somebody took your money. like they did to Abba Kyari. You now think, okay, let me come to Njenje Media and run Mr. B down because so when some questions are asked, you see the person will begin to run. That means you understand. So at the end of the day, it's about staying on the path of facts, fact checking whatever you're saying. Now, having said that, let's now listen to, from a legal perspective, the implication of the Police Service Commission. See, at last in Nigeria, everybody will become an agitator. You know why? The same Police Service Commission that ought to sign or authorize some promotions, when it comes to promoting people, the same Police Service Commission will disappear because some nepotistic decisions will be taken. When it comes to certain decisions that probably would, when it's for certain people, there are people in Nigeria we all adults, use your tongue to count your teeth. There are people in Nigeria, in the service, there is a ceiling for them. And we get to that ceiling. And that's why, again, you see people agitating. People ask, why are these people agitating? They are doing very well. They're even better than us. Sanga is killing us, but they live in duplexes, in better houses, no more house in their village, yet they complain. No, people, I keep saying it. At the heart of every agitation lies injustice. Somebody cannot come into a police force and because of where his or her parents slept with each other, conceived the individual, then you, based on that, made sure that that individual wouldn't go past certain level. The Police Service Commission is there to correct some of these abnormalities. But when you need them most to come out boldly and say and stamp their foot to correct these abnormalities, you see them no more. But one can only say that, well, it's good if today becomes the day that they come out. Fine. Bear in mind that EFCC actually at some point said that they don't investigate fraud cases. And I said, EFCC, you reach Abba Kyari's fraud case. When I know they investigate fraud again. In this same country, you and I are here. Buruji Kashamu, the one accused of was it drug deal or what, some financial crime in America. EFCC laid siege in his house 4 days waiting for him to come out so that they can arrest him and do what? Send him to America. Suddenly, the same country where people, EFCC was laying siege to arrest a man, at that point I think he was a senator. Listen, I'm not supporting any crime, but what I keep saying is, whatever is good for the local goat must be good for the agricultural goat as well. Whatever is good for the goose must be good for the ganja. Fairness. When we talk about fairness, we will see it here, what fairness means. That the second part of this conversation, as the title suggests, is see where the federal government of Nigeria is covering up those behind terror funding. Yet today, we'll read, oh, federal government have busted, these are those behind, those that sponsor separatist groups. The people you call separatists are patriotic Nigerians of yesterday, patriotic, real Nigerians, those who are doing whatever they are doing out of frustration that Nigeria has given to them. You see, you agree or not? See, Nigeria, there is a way Nigeria must do all of us. Nigeria must, now turn by turn, we will all experience Nigeria to the point of this frustration, to the point we will all agree to sit down and speak to ourselves. That's all what the people ask for. Anyway, let me not even get started, because when I start talking about these things, it gets me worked up. Where my friend from Bayelsa Kumasi, get me one Akpata Shidia. They watch me from Ogoni, and now I want to get. Don't worry, I don't want to get angry, because let me go and bring my friend now. If I bring my friend, we want to start a party. Because this party, when we start this party, it's going to be a very good party.
All right. Have you voted?
I'm voted, yeah.
Okay,
I'm happiness, I'm voted, yeah.
Tell me your feeling after voting today.
Yeah, after voting, I'm feeling okay. What I want, I get it on the result. I'm getting the party I want is the one going on. Thank you for that.
What are you expecting from these people you voted?
I'm voted, they can do what you want, and then when they want, what they want, inshallah, we're happiness more, isn't it? So then please, I want to beg them, we suffer almost 10 hours, we are standing because of what we want. We need change. And then the person we need, he's the one.
So we need change. Are you happiness more? Ma says, okay, the proud daughter. I am not a happiness more. I am a daughter. You know, when I say daughter, a proud dot in the circle, but I'm not happiness more. But let's go back before we go into, before we move on, let's get back on track on the issue concerning Abba Kyari. My internet is playing up.
Abba Kyari. Now, the court's Director of Media Relations says the U.S. magistrate judge has issued arrest warrants for the defendants in the case, including Kyari. Although the accused dismissed the allegations, an investigation by the FBI claims the detective collaborated with Hush Puppy to facilitate the arrest of Vincent Chibuzo. And joining us on this development is a Nigerian lawyer, Monday Ubani. Good to have you on Newsday, Barrister. So from a legal perspective, is Abba Kyari's recommendation for suspension on the FBI probe in order, you think?
I am very sorry that I'm not hearing you guys very loud, but I know it is about Abba Kyari's matter. Recently, there was this indictment record from the court from America indicting Abba Kyari as one who participated alongside with Hush Puppy in the crime that he's alleged to have committed. And of course, the IGP made a promise that he is going to review this particular matter. I think they may have reviewed, or they want to still review, and they felt that the best thing to do in this circumstance is to allow what you call unhindered access to the information they will require in order to actually come to a conclusion whether Abba Kyari has committed an alleged crime or not. And in doing that, you need to discipline him by suspending him from office for the meanwhile, in order for having access, because access is very key in order to get to the root of the matter. And I think that's what they have done. It's not as if they have probably come to the conclusion that he's guilty of the offense. It's only suspension in order for them to have access to information that is clearly necessary for them to come to the conclusion of whether to hand him over to America or whether to probably try and probably try him here in Nigeria under our own jurisdiction. That is what I think this suspension is all about, not that he has been found guilty by the Nigerian police.
Now,
I was not hearing you. I don't know whether you can be a bit louder, please, on this issue of question.
Okay, so regarding the suspension, is this suspension the most appropriate course of action at the moment, or do you think there should be a much more severe penalty, given the fact that you've said, you know, that it hasn't been concluded as of yet, that investigations are still underway? Do you think this suspension at the moment is more suited for now, or do you think there could have been more stringent penalties?
I think that what the police has done is something that is very rare in with regards to how to discipline public officers. You know that most times when there is complaint or allegation against Nigerian public officers, they are not usually suspended, they don't usually resign, or they don't usually give way for unhindered access to certain information that may aid the investigation of the process. So what the Nigerian police has done in the circumstance is not that they have indicted him, it's not that he has been convicted, but they want him to at least stay away from office so that they can have information in an unhindered manner, so that they can come to a conclusion whether the offense is alleged to have committed is clearly right or wrong. And I think that that is the appropriate thing to me for them to do at this point in time. He has not been convicted. There is no trial yet. But putting him aside, you know, from office means that they want to have access to certain information, basic information, for proper investigation and arriving at a decision, because they say they want to review. What will you review if you don't have access to information? So I think that what they have done is the appropriate thing first and foremost, which we should be doing, you know, going now or forward from in our public service. If anyone is alleged to have committed a crime, even though you have not found that person guilty or liable, the best thing is for that person to be put away for the meantime, in order to have unhindered access to very vital information that may aid you in your investigation to arrive at a conclusion whether he has committed that offense or not. So suspension at this juncture is, to me, it doesn't look inappropriate.
All right, Mr. Obani. Now, it is widely suggested Mr. Kyari further incriminated himself allegedly based on purported comments he made on social media.
Stop. It's not purported. That's where sometimes I disagree with these guys. Someone wrote something on a verified account. We all made screenshot of it. I have my own copy, where he said that he became the teller. Hush Puppy has moved away from wearing designer's clothes to wearing Abba Kyari. Hey, bad things, they make somebody they love. Abba Kyari, the teller, is now making clothes. You know, you don't appreciate what we talk about here. You're watching me. You are in the United States of America, or you are in Germany. I'll play a scenario for you. You know, you have a pimp, pimp in maybe Germany, America, Europe, where you are now, right? You have a police district head who is in charge of fraud, or in charge of, criminal activities, blah, 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 supposed to be going after the pimps, right? Suddenly becomes an errand boy for the pimps, and the police find out, and we are here blowing big grammar, whether you go front, go back, go front, go back. Suddenly, we remember you cannot extradite a Nigerian citizen. Yeah. And we are fighting so hard to extradite someone from Benin Republic. Where was these principles when someone was kidnapped from Kenya? Kidnapped, not even arrested, kidnapped. I'm not kidding you, it's kidnapped. You see, like I said the other day, when you want to confuse people, use grammar. The lawyers are confusing us using what they call extraordinary rendition. Rendition, not to sing, in my own understanding and in my small portion of English. The right word is that someone was kidnapped. And suddenly, here is a super cop, Robocop, who ought to be above the law, at least by standard. You should know there are do's and there are don'ts. In the offices where many of us work, you cannot even sit down with a client and spend more than 50 euros or 50 pounds. If not, it becomes an inducement. And here, someone of that level is being accused of $16,000. $16,000, about approximately 8 million naira. Then you ask yourself, oh, he could. The tailoring business, we all knew if he didn't write, because sometimes people think everybody's just daft. Something broke out, and see how unintelligent sometimes these people can be. Forget because they wield gun. The only reason why you see that submission, hey, stop there. We'll just park cars and stop and listen to the videos because of that gun. If not, these guys are cucumbers. Sorry, but I hope you don't arrest me, but you guys are cucumbers, most of you, not all of you. Cucumbers and carrots. Oh, just get. So anyway, so when you look at these things and you wonder, when you talk about fairness, you ask yourself, where is this fairness? Can we ensure, if we start today, that a citizen of Nigeria cannot be extradited somewhere without, first of all, going to court and let the law court decide? In the case of Buruji Kashamo, yes, he eventually went to court. But question you ask yourself, if there was this court process, if the court existed at all, that you could go to court and get a court injunction, a court order, in order to do the needful, why did you have to lay siege on his house for so many years, for so many days? Why? That's the question.
Regarding his relationship with Ramon Abbas, that's Hush Puppy, and there are also pictures of him on social media circulating, him cavorting with people of questionable, means of income. So, what do you have to say to that?
Yeah, these are issues, that actually will be clearly discovered by proper investigation. That hasty statement he made in the social media, I learned that he has pulled it down.
Again, you see, you're just learning that he's pulled it down. He clearly shows you of a people that are not thinking, a man who is not thinking. If not, why would you? You think you're dealing with the Oboko Police Division, where you go in, they don't even, you go, there is a woman that sells Oboduku Road. There is a woman that sells full scarf, it's a full scarf sheet. You use your leg, go there, buy the full scarf sheet, come. With your own hands, you write. If you cannot write, if you're not lettered, then you now pay a police officer to write your statement. Have a police stopped you in England, America, in Germany? They have what they call jotter. See, like this, with this small pen, like it's normally small pen. Whatever you're writing, you do, and once they finish, they flip it. These small jotters are flippable. They just flip it, they write it. Whatever you tell them, what's your name? You can tell them my name is Monkey. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They just write it. But you're basically pinning yourself with that statement. But here, in our place, the world is leaving us behind. In fact, I said the world is leaving us behind. Mars, wake up. The world has left us behind. In fact, the world is moving forward. We have packed our load. We are running in opposite direction. A nation that anytime I leave this place, I come back 1 week, 2 weeks later, it has gone backwards than I left it. And they asked me, why wouldn't people be angry?
Of course, he has already said it out. He agreed that he had a relationship with Hush Puppy. He agreed that Hush Puppy gave him an information that he should arrest certain persons for, according to him, there was allegation against threat to life to the family members of Hush Puppy. So he now investigated and discovered that there was no such threat. And I think that if you find out that somebody has given police a wrong information, the proper thing to do is to arrest that individual because he has given police false information, but he never did. And according to him, he now had to enter into a contract relationship of sewing a cloth and buying a car for him and all that. So this...
Imagine, he had to be suspended. Hey. We probably wouldn't get anywhere very soon, anytime soon. You see, the challenge, let me not talk about Nigerian structure because it's heartbreaking. The challenge is even if now you say split it, we are splitting our problem again. Everybody, in fact, it is only what we have is a relocation of thieves. That's all.
Information are things that the police will carefully now put together based upon the document that has come from the court from America in order to find out whether this offense is clearly indictable, for which they can now take a decision. Are we going to try him here in Nigeria under our jurisdiction because we have a law that says if a crime is committed in a certain area, it should be tried there? Or are they going to hand him over if they feel that it's going to be a diplomatic role, if they fail to hand this young man over to America? They have to weigh all the options. America may get angry if this guy is not handed over to them, or America can say, okay, go ahead and try him and let us watch whether you can allow your law to take its full force concerning this allegation and all that. So these are things they need to find out. He has put up all this information. For the fact that somebody get associated with a criminal may not necessarily make him a criminal. It's only when you do an investigation and discover the culpability or any act or omission he has committed in the act of the crime that is alleged to be committed by those socialites. So that's when you can hold him liable. For associating with Hush Puppy or whoever he's alleged to have associated with does not make him a criminal, only when it is found that he also participates in the criminality of those people we associate with. That is when it becomes a big trouble for him. And so I think that information he put out was a bit hasty, but I think the police have a right now to go into all that detail and find out whether all the thing that is alleged to have committed is actually the truth or is a lie concerning this particular matter that has just happened.
Absolutely, it will be interesting.
Anyway, obviously we've seen that now. Bottom line is that Abba Kyari has been suspended. I want to go with suspended, but Kemi says Abba Kyari has been fired. That's why I put question mark there. Fired, really? But suspended. We must then find out and ensure that the Police Service Commission eventually makes their findings public. Now, the next story might get you a little bit worked up. That is, someone was jailed in Adamawa for insulting the president. On many times it appears I have these running battles with many of us. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt you to agree, argue, discuss with people respectfully without insulting anyone. It doesn't hurt. Most times, rather than end conversation, actually enhances conversation. Someone could argue and chat with you. But sadly, in as much as it could be offensive, but I do not know if it's enough to send someone to jail. I do not know, and I do not think that it is enough to send someone to jail. But here it is that this actually happened in Nigeria, that this individual was jailed for insulting President Muhammadu.
Joining us.
So, by the way, before we start, before we start this, kindly do me a favor. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. Do me a favor by just clicking on the bell icon. We have over 1,000 people watching, and we only have 124 people that just like this stream. Do me a favor by liking it. It helps the Facebook to push, rather than pay boost. So it helps for Facebook to showcase the video to others, and YouTube as well. So subscribe to the channel on YouTube. And for those of us who might want to, encourage what we do, you can use the super chat if you so wish. Would appreciate that. So let's now get to this individual that has been, that was jailed for, quote unquote, insulting the president of the Federal Republic.
Hi, Kachi, how are you?
I'm great. Hello, Adesua.
Good morning, Kachi.
Good morning. All right, let's begin. Now, the Chief Magistrates Court sitting in Yola, Adamawa State on Monday sentenced youth leader of the People's Democratic Party in Hong local government area, Ikamukato, to 1 year imprisonment for insulting the President, Muhammadu Buhari, and of course, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa. Now, in a viral video he shared on social media last month, Kato insulted Buhari and Boss Mustafa over their failure to secure lives and property of residents of his council, where the SGF also hails from. This was...
Now, we talk about insult, but this one gets me angry. This is a provoked insult. The guy didn't just wake up because Amaria in the other room didn't, so he got angry. No. The guy got angry and started insulting leadership for failure. Look at my back. Look at it here. These are properties destroyed, properties damaged, human lives like you and I, real human like you and I watching me now. You might be holding your baby, you might be holding your wife, your husband, your daughter, your anyone, just like you and I just died, and someone got angry. And in that moment of anger, he called them names, and he's been sent to jail.
Following an attack by the Boko Haram sect. Well, according to the report as well, the PDP youth leader was remanded in prison custody in a case allegedly instituted by loyalists of the SGF under the aegis of Adamawa.
May you in life never be controlled by someone who is in charge of your stomach. That's my prayer for you watching. May you in life never be controlled by someone who is in charge of your stomach. Those who are supporters of the SGF. When we talk about SGF, Attorney General of the Federation, we talk about Malami. Those who are in support of Malami are the ones that dragged him to court, the one that got him arrested. Isn't that a banana island?
Concerned citizens, of course, headed by Husseini Gambo. Now, the Chief Magistrate, Dima Eleshaima, after taking the plea of guilt from Kato on Monday, however, convicted and sentenced him to 1 year in prison for the use of insulting or abusive words. However, there was the option of a 25,000 naira fine, which I...
Listen, anyone who knows this man, please. My email address is then njenje@gmail.com. Please get in touch. I will pay the 25,000 for him. Why would he go to jail? Why? What an utter rubbish. Why would he get to jail?
Think, Dr. Abati Rufai Adesua that he probably would go with. Now, this, of course, has raised a lot of different reactions on social media. On one hand, there's the fact that there are various bodies of law within Nigeria that make it very clear, the consequence for disrespecting, the leadership of the country, the Constitution. Even the NBC Code has various sections, a lot of them included in parts of Section 3 about, just inciting any kind of violence or using any form of hate speech. Now, if you take
young lady, whether in Ghana you come from Abiweti, please calm down. You wake up in the morning, they killed maybe your cousins or your whatever in a bomb blast because of the failure of governance. So you think you go and be giving the government high five or what? Huh? You think you'll be giving them high five? That's not it. The question is, we must put these things in context. If it was something unprovoked, there are circumstances that you can understand. But I think what manner of judge actually that this common question didn't occur to you? Because circumstances plays a role. Do you know his state of mind at that point? Do you know if he had lost a relation there? And we're here talking
that away from, the laws within the country. People are now also considering the fact that is this really like the worst thing that could have happened? Is this the worst situation that would have been deserving of a year imprisonment when you look at the scope of issues plaguing, a lot of different people today, plaguing people in power, situations that have happened that did not go this far?
Listen, I'm glad that many of you actually, if some of you here could donate money for Abba Kyari to be shipped. Oh, that's actually funny. Some of you remember on Friday donated money for Abba Kyari to be shipped to America. I said, now wow, I love the man. I mean, buying first class ticket for somebody. But in the same vein, some of you are already donating as well, saying that this, some of you are volunteering that you don't mind paying. Like I said, I mean, I don't know him, but you read some stories, you ask yourself, where is my humanity? I wish, if genuinely he doesn't have that money, yes, I will pay, even if he doubles it, just get the individual out. Why would you go and spend 1 year in prison for doing the rightful thing, for getting angry when you're supposed to? I watched a video, I think somewhere in Russia, where there are streets, when if you know Lagos, some of the streets in Okokomaiko, or even Festac, can be very, very beautiful, when you understand what I mean. And what these Russians do is, at night, they will go, when you see a very big pothole, they will go there and plant, maybe we'll start doing it. When all these pothole, when we see them, we'll go and bring banana, plant it in the middle there, let it grow. If it's cocoyam, we'll go and uproot one from our farm, come there and plant it. So these guys in Russia, they've just gone in there, started planting trees. Some will go to this pothole and draw the face, like in a cartoon format. They might now come like the governor of, which governor should I use now? Which one makes me angry most? I hate no one. I hate no one. But let's just say, for example, we draw a governor that wore Bullion Van Babariga. I didn't mention them, but imagine now, on this road, there is this pothole. That place that is very, very this. When you, after drawing the governor, you draw him like this, that pothole will be the Agbada with dollar, where he's footing the dollar, the Agbada, he puts it in the dollar in somewhere. I don't, be careful, I didn't say anybody, but I'm just saying, giving you an example of how we can actually start fighting the idiots. Did I call them idiots? Or somebody's going to arrest me? Nah. Who cares? But, but here in context is someone who is angry for losing lives from terror attack. I believe in this case, the judge should have, taken the context into account.
How quick it was to sentence this young man to a year imprisonment for, of course, doing what he shouldn't have been doing. So yeah, there are people supporting, there are people opposing this, conviction that the man got.
Well, we do not have before us the full text of the Chief Magistrate's ruling. Well, I think that this is one particular case in which the convicted person, Amidu Kato, should test the law further and go to court. You have mentioned that, there are different laws that could have been, the main issue here. Yes, it's possible defamation, libel may be the issue. Because this particular gentleman is accused of having referred to the president of Nigeria and the secretary to the government of the federation as useless human beings, and that he specifically referred to the SGF as a bastard and a dog. Now, at that level, persons who are in positions of authority, they also have a reputation to protect. And if you defame them, if you libel them, if you impugn their integrity in the eyes of right-thinking members of the community, they have a right to protect their own reputation because it's personal. If it's defined.
Yeah, my brother Abati. Nobody who get balloon if you dey puncture. Huh? Nobody when balloon blow, you can puncture it. If balloon is not blown, how can you puncture it? I hope you understand what I mean before they jump fence. Now everybody has
libel. But in this particular case, we're told that the case was taken to court by the Department of State Services. Now, so the Department of State Services took it up as a state matter. Now, what may have been at issue, and I keep making the point that we have not seen the text, the full text of what the issues were, may well be particularly sedition or seditious libel. Now, the problem with sedition and seditious libel, as articulated in Section 50 and the punishment prescribed in Section 51 of the Criminal Code, is that you can raise questions about the freedom of expression. What Section 50 and Section 51 of the Criminal Code says is that, look, you cannot criticize the president or a governor or engage in any act that can constitute a problem for the Nigerian government. Section 51 talks about, if you try to incite people and cause public disturbance. And one of the issues raised in that particular report was about this particular gentleman trying to cause incite people to public disturbance because he criticized the president and the secretary to the government of the federation. The appropriate punishment is prescribed in Section 52 of the Criminal Code. However, the problem with sedition is that it's an obsolete law. It's an arcane law. Even in the United Kingdom, from which we inherited the common law, which is one of the major sources of our jurisprudence. As far back as 1998, under the human rights law in the United Kingdom, look, the whole point about sedition was done away with under the Human Rights Act 1998 of Britain. Now, again in 2009, under the Coroners and Justice Act, the law about sedition was also dismissed as obsolete in the interest of the fundamental right of the individual to the freedom of expression and thought. But here in Nigeria, we that just borrowed a common law that inherited it as part of our colonial heritage, we're still talking about sedition. I think, there should be an advocacy, and there are many, informed Nigerians who have asked that those sections of the criminal code dealing with sedition or seditious libel or seditious intention, as one of the sections puts it, should be done away with, should be removed from our laws so that the scope for the freedom of thought, for the freedom of expression can be expanded. However, this is no protection for anybody who willfully, willingly impugns the integrity of another. But whoever is in government whose integrity is impugned can, in a personal right, sue. But where it is related to governance, as Section 50 of the Criminal Code is trying to suggest, then, of course, it's not the responsibility of the state. It's a personal, civil matter, but for the state to take it on and take a man to court on indications of inciting public disturbance for expressing an opinion, I think that is a problem.
The bandits that are inciting public disturbance everywhere, we have not taken them up.
Now, It is time. Listen, I poured only for this statement alone. I poured drink for Rufai. Waiting, Rufai. Now you are poured this drink for, because at some point I was asking myself whether I am still okay. Rufai, come and join me. I poured this drink for you. Your first statement, the opening match. You don't just score 15 goals. I wish some people can bless yourself. I wish some people can pay you tithe. You deserve it. What manner of, your opening shot. In fact, you don't kill the Goliath itself. Goliath don't die.
It's people that react.
No, hold on.
Public disturbance everywhere.
No, I want to.
For expressing an opinion, I think that is a problem.
Okay. The bandits that are inciting public disturbance everywhere, we have not taken them up.
You go to your farm, you finish farming your okra, your granite, your cocoyam, your yam, your maize. You go buy fertilizer. You go to the chicken poultry man. You go buy manure. You go buy everything. Tend it, your time. You buy laborers. Somebody will bring malu. 200 pieces. Come, destroy your farm. Chop. You haven't jailed them, for Christ's sake, for crying out loud. But the man,
It's people that react because they've been hurt in the first place and the state has failed them. We are quick to take on.
In fact, I close. I say bye-bye, everybody. At the verse now. Because now, this guy was arrested for just saying something. Me, as a day now, I go barbecue some cow self.
The man that shot down a national plane in this country, national fighter jet, we don't take them up on.
No, how can you take them?
It's the people that voice out because of their anger as a result of. Can't you see that story? You said the man voiced out because his local government had been attacked, isn't it?
Exactly, Rufai. That's what I just said before. Because that's where I was actually angry with the judge, because you should put this in context. The context is that this guy lost people, his local government, and he is angry on those that have failed to protect lives and property. Those have said, we are going to do this if you put us in power, and that's why we voted for you. But you failed abysmal. And someone gets angry. What you do, you use the law courts to shut him up.
Yeah, his local government has been attacked. So the state in section 14 of section 2B reneged on his responsibility of protecting the lives and property of people, and the man questioned and he got offended and called out state actors, because non-state actors have become supreme in Nigeria, and the next thing, we put up a law and we send him to jail. One, probably because he's a member of an opposition party. Two, because he called out.
Somebody should please, if you know the man in question, he cannot go to jail. I don't bloody care where he comes from. He's a human being. Cut me open. He has blood. I have blood. That's what humanity does. Whatever amount it is must be paid, and he cannot go to jail.
See, this reminds me of that draconian colonial days, where this same sedition, I was so happy, Dr. Badi, you're talking about sedition, where the sedition ordinance of 1942-43 were used to jail Nigerian patriots and nationalists that had newspaper that wrote about the quest for independence. The likes of Azikiwe, Awolowo, and co. were jailed without colonial sedition ordinance.
But we are back there now. We are back there. That's why we cross-check, open-check, double-check, beta-check, vida-checking. Everything check to ensure that nobody jumps our fence. Says, we now, because you've said this X, Y, Z. That's a nation. That's it.
Of the British government. So now, we are throwing the baby away with the bathwater. We are not talking about the fact that Boko Haram that is disturbing public peace, hurting people, then you are sending a man to jail because he had said some things in response to an attack on people.
In response to an attack, not Rufai, not even on a people. In response to an attack to his own immediate people. That's one point we must. Imagine you wake up now, somebody comes into your farm, destroys everything, kills everyone, maybe. So what you have to do is you wake up, so the person that took your vote, promising that he will protect you. So in that moment of rage, what you will do is sehr schon gemacht. Oh, meine Güte, du bist wunderbar. Oh, you have done so well. What an excellent job. Oh, bring more cows to come and bring more whatever to come and shoot down aircraft and destroy the area. That's what you're going to do, right? Or you would get angry. Again, I keep going back to it. I had wished that the judge would have taken into context, because here context mattered. Why and what triggered it mattered a lot. But waiting,
and I'm sure people lost their lives.
We have aeroplane drivers.
So it just shows you where the slant is, and this is what a government agency is carrying on his head as a mantra. We must jail the man. Why don't you protect communities at first? We've all been able to identify the bandit that shot down Nigeria plane. Nothing has been done. I've not even seen any word, anybody prescribed as a terrorist. I'm not sure the police have brought out an official wanted dossier on that man. By now, they should be, Ali Kachala, what is his name? They should be printing posters, wanted, with a bounty on it. Nobody has done that.
How can you, Rufai? Let me laugh like Abba Rufai. How can you? Rufai, a man who hasn't allowed you to sleep in the boys' quarter is promising you the mansion. How can you think that will happen? I'm only saying, I know nothing, but I'm just saying that you're asking for too much.
But you come out to talk, and you are shut down, you are sent to jail for a year. I keep saying, we can't build a country this way. A country has to be free and fair for all. It has to be a society people can live in peace and harmony. And we need to support free speech. And this is the same country that we know what some people said when they lost the election many years ago.
Rufai, you're about to break a table. And this table is very, this table in fact, you're climbing on a very fragile plastic table. You just jumped from a glass table. Now you're going into a very fragile China plastic. Be very careful. Because this table you're going into now, a clear truth for you.
We can't say those words on TV.
You see, I warned you. Thank God you had when I cleared throat. That's an elder. Because those places, that place you wanted to go, if you had said it now, by now, I'll be bringing you Gary and Granot in the DSS custody for you to drink. You know how we soak it that time. First of all, you soak it, you allow it. It will carry shoulder up. So that by the time you do it, you come, your belly will be like a kwashiorkor child, you know. But I would gladly, but, I mean, it's on a serious note. It's just insanity.
For me, very simply, I mean, Dr. Bati talked about borrowing laws. Sometimes I wonder if this democracy we borrowed, we're practicing it properly. Because what you say in democracies, for instance, in the US, and can get away with it, you cannot say it here and get away with it. However, I do take exception to people using abusive languages in expressing their views. Calling a bastard is a statement of fact. calling the secretary to the government of the Federation a bastard, calling him a dog. I think for me, those were abusive languages, and there are laws to take care of that. But you know, we can express divergent views. You cannot clamp down on everybody who criticizes or people who seem to criticize your administration. And that would seem to be what is playing out here. That's the perception that, you know, this administration is constantly, you know, against critics. If you want to be loved by everybody, they say you have to go sell ice cream and not be in government.
No, I just no simple clarification here. I mean, the
it's
president.
Sorry, that Rufai mentioned what he did earlier. Yeah, Rufai. You know, with regards to Rufai's comments, I remember another comment that we saw.
This one cracked me. Mazi and Rufai for 2023. Okay. Some of you, when we talk about serious things, some of you just anyway. Let's 2023 election is open. Let us vote. Mazi Rufai, so that we go scatter everything. We'll go there. We'll go talk the one way we'll go talk. Self. Now the they go pursue us for Asorok. They go use their broom. They will use their broom, sweep us for us, and say this one's not going to fit. All of them go die because we go open book. That's a kidding, man. I mean, what can you do? You can't cry. Honestly, you can't cry. But I found it. I honestly found it is really, really disturbing.
Where it was said that the concept of de-radicalization and rehabilitation may have played a very good role here. Maybe he could have been rehabilitated to know how to express his grievances even better, as opposed to getting a one-year jail term.
No, that is not the point in my view. The point is, look, even as a public official, if you feel that you have been defamed, the freedom of expression that is provided for under the Constitution, Section 39, does not grant you the right to go about abusing people and violating the rights of other people. But the president of the country, a governor, a secretary to the government of the federation, whose reputation may have been impugned, integrity may have been impugned, can...
Abba, I ask you again. You are talking about integrity. I say, can you puncture a balloon that is not blown? Can you puncture?
Sue in a personal capacity. If it was President Buhari suing, because if you allege that the president is a useless person, then he can sue you in his personal capacity. Section 308 does not say he cannot affirm his own rights under the law. And then you go to court and go and prove how you think he's a useless person. That's in the personal province. The secretary to the government of the federation could also have gone to court. But in this case, it is the state going to court. So you cannot use the state to say...
And the worst part is, this is a case of a state versus an individual. Now, remember, the insult was a personal one. The state that ought to have, protected the lives of its own people, the taxpayers, the reason why that state actually existed ab initio. You failed, and someone gets angry at your failure. What do? You begin the state. That judge actually needs to be checked very well. Wallahi, this is a state. We can't wait to come to a point, even when states bring something like that, you get angry and tell whoever that is there to just go home. Let's go and invite why would you go and fight from on my? You just hacking to people saying, you insult my prophet, you insult my God, I'll fight. Your prophet, you don't get anyhow you go fight. Your God, you don't get anyhow you go. Why must you go and fight for it? And here you're fighting for people. It just makes me sick.
You are protecting your reputation. So that's why I said this is about sedition.
Yes.
And that we need to review it, because the people who gave us that law, they've since abandoned it.
Yes.
Since 1998, since 2009. And this gentleman should go on appeal, because we can't afford to have a country where if you express an opinion about people in government, who should also understand that there's a principle called voluntas non injuria. If you don't like it, don't go near the kitchen. Yes. But if you feel your reputation has been improved, you can sue. Exactly. But don't use the state to oppress people. So, Kachi, sorry about that.
But in this case, not even if it was two fighting, why trouser the tear when people fight? It's two fighting. You blow me, I blow you. If it's that one, is a question is understandable. But now the state came in and fought on his behalf, and I think that is very, very unfair. I wish there is a way, but again, this is the Attorney General of the Federation, the one that see, this is the reason why that office must be split. There ought to be an office of the Attorney General, and there must also be an office for the Minister of Justice. One should be state prosecutor. Not honestly, it doesn't.
Now we're going to head out to a quick break. Oh, I'm glad you did, Dr. Abati. That was an essential point. We'll pick up on this conversation shortly. Let's take a short break. Going to different police stations in search of their relative after he and 3 friends were arrested by security agents on their way back from a night out. Well, he also revealed that there were 2 bullet holes on the right side of his chest. Now, again, this is one story that has brought up a lot of issues. One issue being where a lot of these bodies are from. A lot of the bodies used in a lot of the universities for anatomy classes are from. A lot of times, it's understood that these are the bodies of perhaps armed robbers or, people who were killed on, basically just malicious events, nights out. And then you also bring up the issue of the accountability of the police, that frustration that a lot of Nigerians will complain of. The repeated act of going constantly to the police station. I remember during the NSAS protests, there were lots of people who were coming out to share their stories, specifically about an incident in Anambra State where a family had been looking for their child over and over and over again. And at some point, it became almost impossible to even know what the situation was at the time. This is a story that a lot of Nigerians are too familiar with. I mean, who knows what would have happened if this young man did not recognize Divine?
Imagine his grief and the horror, not just for him, in fact, but also for the family, which we understand they have been looking for this. Unfortunately, this young man who had died and they had no idea where he was. So many issues, Kachi, indeed. But 2 issues for me. First is that, yes, bodies for anatomy education has always been surrounded by ethically controversial issues. It was only in 2012 here that the International Federation for Anatomists Association recommended that voluntary donated bodies should be used for anatomy education and research. Unfortunately, that recommendation has not been followed through by many countries around the world. And they rely on unclaimed bodies. And the other issue for me here in the Nigerian context is that presumably, Kachi, when a dead body is found, you should be able to simply identify who the individual is by conducting an autopsy or forensics. But unfortunately, these 2 sectors in Nigeria have they lack both, standards and availability. We do not have them. And so unclaimed bodies remain. And you're right, there's a question about the police and accountability. But we're carrying out so many identification processes, left, front, and center, the FRSC, the NIN, the SIM linkage. But what are we doing with all this? We still do not have data. We do not have records. Are there birth records? Are there death records? At what point do I have access to a record as a Nigerian? What are they doing with all these records? So we need to pay particular attention to our data, our records, and even forensics. We should be able to identify people.
Well, the bodies that are used for medical studies in Nigerian universities, they are not necessarily donated bodies by families. Across Africa, there are reservations. And so what you find in our medical schools and elsewhere are bodies that are just being dumped in mortuaries. Many of them, according to a journal article as reported by Adaobi Tricia Waubani, the novelist and contributor to BBC, is that, look, many of these people are usually persons who are victims of police brutality, or who are persons who are victims of accidents and all of that.
So that means if you're in Nigeria, the likelihood that when you die by accident, you'll be used for autopsy is there, because there is. Why must it? Yes, I know we do not have records. I mean, it's given. We understand that we do not have records, but because you don't have records, is that the reason why police should kill you and donate your body to be used as autopsy, or learning for medical students to use to learn how to cut things open? What happened to people donating? Many of us have actually thought about it. That when you die, what is it? Was the body for? Let's be for research, because it means absolute nothing. The soul has gone wherever it goes. Is it to heaven, wherever, with the ancestors, and or with Indichi, and sit somewhere with alligator pepper, with Inzu, and enjoy the moonlight? Maybe, we don't know. Nobody knows where you're going to go. So the body becomes nothing. All the cream, bleaching, whatever you apply to it amounts to absolute nothing. At the end of the day, it's done. The moment there is no longer oxygen flowing and you kaput. That's all. It's finished. Whatever you do to the body doesn't matter. But here, a nation called Nigeria, no record is the excuse. I reject that. Now, to conclude this conversation this evening, I did mention before that while the government is busy, looking at those who are financing the separatist group, the same government, and I would always remind us, as our friend Senator Shehu Sani said, that for you need to understand the reason why people who were once patriotic started agitating for a breakup of a union that they were once proud of. And that is the starting point of repair. Because if you do, you know how to psychologically and otherwise begin to approach issues, and how to, get them to start reasoning with you, but not in this manner. Now, on this report by Sahara reporters, where they clearly here have it, where they say that the Attorney General of the Federation, in the person of Malami, that obviously, let me not, again, third person singular, not me, no first person here. So I'm not getting involved in this conversation in terms of bringing self to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show us this report. I hope it's going to be big enough. Now, and this report has the following. And according to Sahara Reporters, published today, see, 3rd of August, it says, 3 months after the Nigerian government promised to arraign about 400 alleged Boko Haram sponsors and financiers of the deadly sect, the government appears to have mellowed down on the prosecution. Again, that is Sahara Reporters. Sahara Reporters learned that the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, is covering up the identities of the sponsors, many of them being from a region of the country, while there is also a plot to scuttle their prosecution. Now, keyword here, you may fill in the gap. If many of you who uses the London Underground, you know this tell, mind the gap. Here I am telling you, fill in the gap. It says, many of them being from a region of the country. Again, I tell you, fill in the gap. Not be my mouth and I go here say father mess. Now, he continues. 3 months and no prosecution has been heard about the 400 sponsors, founders of 400 sponsors and founders of Boko Haram and bandits. It's an ongoing cover-up by Malami, a top source stated. Now, Sahara Reporters is saying that the top source told them. Sahara Reporters had in April reported that Malami was unhappy and angry about the recent arrest of persons allegedly funding Boko Haram, including reporters of some Burundi Change, including the operators of some Burundi Change who facilitated the transfer of money to the terrorists. Could it be that all these Kaduna Zamfara kidnappings that we see, that I did clear my throat, sorry, I said nothing again, but again, filling the gap. The top source in a government in government had told Sahara Reporters how Malami was opposed to the raid and subsequently at loggerhead with the task force for carrying out that raid. The source for the series of arrests were made in Kanu, Bonu, Abuja, Lagos, Sokoto, Adamawa, Kaduna, Zamfara, according to Daily Times, a Daily Trust report. This is still there. Now, intriguing enough, you still, when you read through that report, you come to the point, you look at this here. It says, it has been reported that 90 Burundi Change owned by persons with direct connection with Boko Haram were uncovered, while over 300 billion was found to have been pumped into the funding of the terrorism in this country. Then you ask yourself, sometimes, in as much as I know that these things are evil, but I mean, one thing that I am still unable to wrap my head around it is to say, all these sponsors of terror, to what end? What is the exit strategy? Blowing up human beings, individuals every night and day, and those, just like Rufai said, those that ought to actually speak, those that ought to actually have taken action, are those that will probably get angry that someone is asking the right question. I'll leave us with the following. Now, this is a nation where a lot is happening, security-wise, and there are people who have taken the pain to conduct investigations and find out those who are allegedly behind the sponsorship of terror. In that, we still fail to follow it up, to follow the leads, and actually deal with the individuals behind it. Tell me, with that type of mentality, how do you on earth expect that you will, at any point, at one point or the other, ever get to the point of solving the craziness of insecurity? How? Without taking the right actions, without taking the right steps? How are we going to do that? Remember, this is the same government. When they came in, they said, Lai Mohammed, is it Lai Mohammed or Lai Mohammed? Anyway, not lying machine. Stop. What is my brain telling me? Is it? I forgot. Okay. The Mr. Lai Mohammed, take it again, take two. Mr. Lai Mohammed, or Alhaji Lai Mohammed, told us that people had returned money when the president took over, that people on their own volition returned money. We demanded to know where those monies were kept, in the names of those people. They made it in open television that they were going to say who returned what. Afterwards, the story changed, where they were not going to because of lawsuits. And I asked myself, if as early in the early lives of these admin, they been saying this and they were not forthcoming, why would anyone believe them? Are you surprised in any way, shape, or form that a government that prides itself with corruption, I cannot see any single case of corruption, especially high-profile corruption, not those corrupt cases started by the PDP, but in last 6 years, does it mean that no one has been stealing, no one stole before, and what is it that is happening? There is this certain governor from a certain state who was somewhat convicted. Suddenly, that governor came out of prison miraculously. The door opened by a Supreme Court. If I call it abracadabra, pardon me, because I'm in the realm of legality, I am a novice and I am an illiterate in that. So that's why I might decide to call it so. That individual was released. That case, no one knows the head or tail. That individual was jailed for what? Very simple. We blame the federal government. That individual was jailed, one of the worst states in Nigeria, infrastructure and road-wise. Rather than use it to do the job the federal government, these allocations were meant for, this individual, as a governor of that state, used that, commingled that money, put it that way, commingled that money. And where are we now? We are back to square one. The individual is back to office. You know the office I'm in. And as a nation. I'll leave us with this fella song. One day go be one day. One day go be one day. Those way they steal the money for Africa. One day go be one day. My grandma will say, one day go be one day. Monkey go market, you no go return back. Oh, one day go be one day. Ụbọchị niile bụ nke onye ori. Otu ụbọchị bụ nke onye nwe ụlọ. On that note, my lovely people, I thank you very much for joining me this evening. Join me 6 o'clock tomorrow with my conversation one-on-one with Charlie Boy Oputa. And join me on Friday. I'm going to use that as my Friday hangout. We're going to discuss the Enugu International Airport. I've seen many of you asking, saying, I hope everything is fine with Enugu International Airport. I say, yes, everything is fine. Join me on Friday. Is a day either will make or will break something. I'll leave it at that as well. Again, if you're seeing my face for the first time, please kindly subscribe to these platforms, be it on Facebook and YouTube. Do so, support what we do. Share this video for others to view, because when you like these videos, like it, we're over 1,000 people, only 286 people liked it. Just click the thumbs up. That's all. That's all. No tight. I would say, in the spirit of happiness, or in the spirit of whatever we call it. Anyway, I'll leave you with this. Let me bring Buhari to say the closing prayer for us. Mr. President, how is Nigeria?
The government has failed to do its principal duty of protecting life or property of all.
Mr. President, I said pray. How can you behave like this? This one shocked me, Mr. President. Mr. President, I call you again. How can you rate your government? Mr. President, talk to us.
The government has failed to do its principal duty of protecting life or property of all beings inside its territory in Nigeria.
Okay, not my mouth to know here. I'm a DSS. I take permission and I say, on that note, everyone, thank you once more very much for joining me. I am still Mazi Ezoka, and I say